Hi everyone, welcome back to Chemcourse Academy. So this video is for scientific assistant previous year questions, and we already solved some 10 questions in previous video. So let's solve another questions. So first question is, symmetric top molecules have two moments of inertia equal and third different. All three moments of inertia are equal and all three moments of inertia are different and none of these. So symmetric top molecules have moment of inertia is denoted as I. So IA, IB and IC are the three types of moment of inertia of a molecule. So for symmetric top molecules, IB equal to IC, which is not equal to IA. So IB and IC are equal, which is different from IA, that is symmetric top molecule. So in symmetric top molecules, IB equal to IC, which is not equal to IA, and there are two types of symmetric top molecules, that is prolate and oblate. In prolate, IB equal to IC, which is greater than IA, and in oblate it is less than IA. It is less than IA in oblate and greater than IA in prolate. So for prolate, C3V is the point group example, and in oblate it is D3H. D3H. So symmetric top molecules have two moment of inertia equal and one different. So first option is right one. Two moments of inertia equal and third different. And the second option is all moment of inertias are equal. If all moment of inertias are equal, then it is called a spherical top. Spherical top molecule. Spherical top means IA equal to IB equal to IC. So all moment of inertias are equal. For example, tetrahedral molecule, that is CH4. Then P4 is also an example for spherical top molecules. And the third option is all three moment of inertia are different. So that molecule is called asymmetric top molecule. Asymmetric top molecule. So symmetric top molecules have IA not equal to IB, which is equal to IC. That is symmetric top molecules. Now second question is, the vibrational stretching frequency of diatomic molecule depends upon force constant, mass of two atoms, both A and B, none of these. So vibrational stretching frequency is what the formula is, nu bar equal to 1 by 2 pi c root of k by mu, where this c is what velocity of light. So c is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second, and k is force constant. Force constant. And mu is what? Reduced mass. Reduced mass. Now nu bar is the frequency. So vibrational stretching frequency of a diatomic molecule depends upon force constant, reduced mass. So the options are force constant, mass of two atoms, both A and B, none of these. So what is reduced mass? Reduced mass is M1 M2 divided by M1 plus M2, where M1 and M2 are the masses of two atoms. So if HCl is given, then M1 is mass of hydrogen and Cl M2 is the mass of Cl. So reduced mass is M1 M2 by M1 plus M2. So vibrational stretching frequency nu bar depends upon K and mu. So force constant and mass of two atoms, that is both A and B. So this is the right answer. So moving on to third question, identify the spectra correspond to frequency 15,000 per centimeter. Options are visible, IR, NMR, microwave. So the range for UV spectrum is the wavelength range, the frequency range is 25,000 to 50,000 centimeter inverse, 50,000 centimeter inverse. And for visible spectroscopy, the range is in between 12,500 to 25,000. 25,000. So the question is 15,000. So 15,000 come in this range, the visible range. So the answer is visible. And for IR, the range is three different regions are there: near, mid and far IR. So first one 14,000 to 4,000. So this is near IR. And 4,000 to 400. So this is mid IR, and far IR, the last one is far IR, that is 400 to 10 centimeter inverse, that is far IR. So the answer 15,000 is visible spectroscopy. Now fourth question is Raman lines on the low frequency side of the excitation frequency are called Stokes line, anti-Stokes line, Rayleigh line and none of these. So the Raman spectroscopy, the line representation is like this: a major line, then small lines on both sides, left and right side. So this left side is called a Stokes line. Stokes, and right side anti-Stokes. Now this big line is called Rayleigh line. Rayleigh line. So this left side, usually this left side is negative in a graph. In a graph, this left side is negative. So this left side is Stokes line. So Stokes line have low frequency. So Raman lines on the low frequency side of excitation frequency are called Stokes line. And one more thing, this Rayleigh line and the first Stokes line is separated by a distance of 4b, and here the first Stokes line and the Rayleigh line is separated by a distance of 4b. So the lines are separated by a distance of 4b. And in Stokes line the delta J equal to -2, and in anti-Stokes delta J equal to +2, and for Rayleigh line delta J equal to 0. So the points to remember is the Stokes line are low frequency, and anti-Stokes line are high in frequency, and delta J is +2 for anti-Stokes and delta J equal to -2 for Stokes line. Now fifth question, gold number gives the number of gold atom present in 1 gram of gold, the number of gold atom required to coagulate 1 gram of the colloidal solution, the number of gold atom present in 1 gram of gold alloy, none of these. So what is gold number? So gold number is the minimum weight of a protective colloid. So gold number is minimum weight of a protective colloid, required to prevent the coagulation of 10 ml of standard hydro gold sol. So it is the minimum weight of a colloid, protective colloid, required to prevent the coagulation, the coagulation of 10 ml gold, 10 ml gold sol. So here the options given are number of gold atom present in 1 gram of gold, that's not right. the number of gold atoms required to coagulate 1 gram of colloidal solution. That's not true, because the gold number is number of gold atom or weight of colloid required to prevent the coagulation of the 10 ml gold sol. And the C option is the number of gold atom present in 1 gram of gold alloy. So the correct answer is none of these. And what is gold number? Minimum weight of colloid required to prevent coagulation of 10 ml of standard hydro gold sol when 1 ml of a 10% NaCl solution is added to it. So when 1 ml of 10% NaCl is added. So just remember, gold number is the minimum weight of a colloid required to prevent coagulation of 10 ml gold sol. Moving to sixth question, which of the following is incorrect? Chemisorption is caused by a bond formation. Chemisorption does not extend beyond a monolayer. Chemisorption increases with increase in temperature. Chemisorption is reversible. So we should have an idea about chemisorption and physisorption. So here the differences between chemisorption and physisorption is given. Chemisorption means chemical and physisorption physical. So in chemisorption the points are formation of chemical bond, and in physisorption it is the van der Waals force. And chemisorption is irreversible, and it is very specific. High temperature increases with increase in temperature, unimolecular layer and activation energy high. But in physisorption it is reversible, not specific. Low temperature decreases with increase in temperature, multimolecular layer and activation energy less. So the points of chemisorption are formation of chemical bond, irreversible, very specific, high temperature, increases with increase in temperature, unimolecular layer, activation energy high. So the question is, which of the following is incorrect? That is, chemisorption is caused by bond formation. So that is correct. Chemisorption does not extend beyond a monolayer. That is also right, because chemisorption is monolayer and physisorption is multilayer. Chemisorption increases with increase in temperature. That is also right. The chemisorption is reversible. No, chemisorption is irreversible. So the incorrect statement is chemisorption is reversible. Actually, chemisorption is irreversible. Now, seventh question, reversible adiabatic expansion of an ideal gas is an example of isoenthalpic process, isoentropic process, isothermal process and isobaric process. So what is adiabatic expansion? Adiabatic process is the process in which no heat enters or leaves the system. So no heat enter or leave the system. So that is adiabatic. And what is reversible? So in reversible processes, what is the condition? Delta S will be 0. That is no entropy change. So in heat, when no heat is entered or leave, then also the delta S will be 0. So there is no change in entropy. So that means entropy is constant. Entropy is constant. So from the option isoenthalpic, enthalpic means H, delta H is 0, isoentropic delta S 0, isothermal delta T 0 and isobaric delta P 0. So isoentropic is the correct answer. Reversible adiabatic expansion of an ideal gas is an example of isoentropic process because there is no heat entering or leaving the system in adiabatic reversible expansion. Now eighth question, Which of the following is a spontaneous process associated with negative entropy change? Option: evaporation of a liquid, decomposition of AgClO2, dissolution of HCl gas in H2O, acid-base neutralization. So what is negative entropy change? Actually, entropy is disorder. So negative disorder change means from high number of atom changes to low number. So number of atoms changes from high to low. Or disorder is changing in negative slope, so high to low. So in first option, evaporation of a liquid, evaporation of a liquid means liquid is converted to gas. So in liquid, what the number of molecules will be low, number of molecules will be low compared to gas. In liquid, the number of molecules will be low compared to gas. So this is a positive entropy change, positive entropy change. And in B option, decomposition of AgClO2, silver chloride. So when AgClO2 AgCl2 is a solid, and when it is decomposed, it is converted to gas. So what happened? Positive entropy change, positive entropy change. Now in C option, dissolution of HCl gas in H2O. Dissolution of HCl gas in H2O means HCl plus H2O gives H3O plus Cl minus, and this is in aqueous and this is in aqueous. HCl is a gas and H2O is a liquid. So here what happened? A gas is converted to aqueous medium. So the number of molecule is decreased. So from high to low. So the entropy change will be negative entropy change. Negative entropy change here. And the question is, which of the following is associated with negative entropy change? So the C option is the right option, dissolution of HCl gas in H2O. And in acid-base neutralization, so what is acid-base neutralization? Acid plus base gives salt. So it is also liquid or aqueous. So there is no change in entropy. No change in entropy. Now ninth question, what happens to the equilibrium constant of a reaction if the stoichiometric coefficient in the balanced chemical equation is doubled? So A option twice, B squared, C half, and D no change. The equilibrium constant Kc is equal to the concentration of the product divided by concentration of the reactant. So let's equation A plus B, the stoichiometric coefficient will be AA and BB, and it is in equilibrium, then CC plus DD. So A is the number of moles of A, capital A, and small b is the number of moles of B. Similarly, small c is the number of moles of C, and small d is the number of moles of capital D. So the equilibrium constant is Kc is equal to capital C, the concentration of C raised to C, D raised to D divided by A raised to A and B raised to B. So here C raised to C, D raised to D, A raised to A, B raised to B. Now the question is, what happened to the equilibrium constant of a reaction if the stoichiometric coefficient in the balanced chemical equation is doubled? So the stoichiometric coefficient means A and B, C and D are doubled. That means 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D. So what happened? Kc dash. Kc dash is the new equilibrium constant. Kc dash is C raised to 2C, D raised to 2D, then A raised to 2A and B raised to 2B. Now what happened? The 2 will be common. So C raised to C and D raised to D into C raised to C and D raised to D divided by A raised to A, B raised to B, A raised to A, B raised to B. I am writing this only to make you understand. So this is what A raised to m into A raised to n is A raised to m plus n. So this is 2. When you add these C raised to C plus D, when you add these you will get 2C and 2D. So the result is Kc square. Kc square. C raised to 2C and D raised to 2D can be written as A raised to m into A raised to n, and A raised to m plus n will give you 2C. So C raised to C and D raised to D is already Kc. So Kc into Kc, Kc square. So it is squared. So the B option is the right answer. It is squared. Now 10th question, maximum number of phases possessed by an invariant system consisting of 3 components is options 3, 2, 5 and 4. So we have to find the maximum number of phases. So in phase rule says that f is equal to C minus P plus 2. So F is what? Degree of freedom, C is component and P is phases and plus 2. So here it is said that maximum number of phases. So for maximum number of phases we will take F is equal to 0. F is equal to 0 for maximum number of phases. Maximum number of phases. So what happens? 0 equal to C minus P plus 2, and it is given, it is a 3 component system. So C is equal to 3, it is given. So 0 equal to 3 minus P plus 2. So P equal to 5. 3 plus 2, 5. So the option is C.